So I want to start this series with an open mind. It was very obvious that Season 2 would never live up to the expectations that was left with us after Season 1. Even if Madhouse would have still done Season 2 of One Punch Man, there's no way it would ever be able to replicate the sheer quality of the first season. So it's very unfair for me to come into this series and expect the exact same thing from Season 1. For instance, the exact same art style, exact same animation quality, just like everything about it, I should not expect the exact same thing, even if it was Madhouse. And once again, I know I say it almost in every video that's been led up to this point of me finally sitting down and doing my first impressions of One Punch Man Season 2, I've stated that the only reason why One Punch Man looked so amazing for the first season was because the director called in so many favors, so many people to work on the show, that it was something that was almost impossible. And there's just no way anything like that could ever be replicated again, especially for One Punch Man. So once again, it was just never going to be possible for the animation art to look as good as it did. But okay. Now with that out of the way, that little brief disclaimer, how was the first episode of Season 2? Did it fell right out the gate? Was it a colossal failure? Was it something that is just so bad we should stop and just not continue on? Is it something like that? Personally, I don't think so. Now, hear me out. It's very obvious from this first episode of Season 2 that JC staff are really trying hard to replicate what Madhouse did, or at least the team that worked on Season 1, to the art quality, to the POV shots, to just the animation. They're really trying. You can really see by the way this episode is presented, even if there's a lot of production problems, art style, animation, just different things here and there throughout the episode, you can see that JC staff are trying their hardest to make this anime a success. And they're really not trying to disappoint the original fans of the series. The manga readers and the original fans that, won in his artwork, and then also the anime fans. You can see JC staff, they just don't want to make the fan base angry. But, like I said, when it came to how amazing Season 1 was, it literally, they sucked everything that was possible from Season 2. With how good Season 1 was, the expectations were never going to be met with Season 2. And that's the thing here, is that JC staff, they've been given such a horrible plate. They've been given one of the worst plates that you could probably have in the anime industry, because they have a major fan base that loves One Punch Man, like a diehard fan base. They have a community that's been formed after the anime, and it's become somewhat mainstream. Even fans of, not fans of anime love One Punch Man. I have a couple of people I talk to that don't even care about anime, don't like anime, but they've heard about One Punch Man and they actually enjoy it. And thanks to it being on Netflix, people are able to kind of get into it. So, One Punch Man has become very popular. And because of the fan base that Season 1 garnered and all that, and then people finally getting into the manga, people's expectations are unrealistically high. And so JC staff, their position is just outright horrendous, because despite everything, you can see they love this series. That you can see that they're trying to put their all into this first episode. And, there's a lot of things that they tried to cover up certain production problems. They did have some usage of CGI here and there throughout the episode. There was some scenes, like, art-wise, that probably could have been done a little bit better, mainly with Genos' face, which is something I kind of talked about in the trailer preview that came out, like, a couple weeks back that I did a video on. This is something that we were all very aware of, that there was obviously some differences with the art style, at least the way the faces are drawn. There was obviously going to be some CGI, and all that stuff that I talked about in my trailer discussion was very true within this first episode. It does seem like the, JC staff did fix up some production problems, especially with the first episode, because, even though some of the scenes still look the same from the trailer, there wasn't, like, a lot of, like, cut-arounds, like, trying to cut corners to make it look better. It seemed like they tried to fix it as fast as they could and make it a really good episode. So I do think that overall, JC staff is doing a good job. Do I think that this is probably going to be the best anime of the season? No. And the reason why I think that is not because One Punch Man is a bad story, it's because with the way the expectations are, the pressure on JC's staff, how the production is, to just, how this is never going to meet anyone's expectations. I don't think this is going to be anyone's anime of the season in anyone's eyes. I just don't think so, because of just everything. There's just so many things working against this series. But anyways, I want to get into the actual story, because I think, it's very obvious by now what everybody is already coming here to expect. Many are probably coming in to watch One Punch Man Season 2 and hate it right at the start. Personally, my opinion on the situation, I don't hate One Punch Man Season 2, okay? And I don't hate this episode. It's actually a pretty decent episode. I don't think it is as strong as Kimetsu no Yaiba's first episode. No, hell no, it's not. I mean, the art, animation, and music of Kimetsu is just so much better in my personal opinion, but it just, I feel like right now this is still a really good first episode. It's solid, and it does follow the manga from what I can remember. It's been a while since I glanced at it, but it does follow the manga, so at the very least, they are giving a proper anime adaptation. So I really have nothing else to really be worried about. If they can at least, animate the manga to the anime, like if they can do a proper anime adaptation without cutting things, then you know what, I will be fine with this anime adaptation of One Punch Man. That's what I really care about, and maybe they could just save all their production and time and effort on the really amazing scenes, the scenes that really count in, the future episodes of Season 2. But okay, let's get into the story. So, what is Season 2 about? What's going on and all that? So, pretty much, we start right off with King. King is a character that was introduced in Season 1, and we got a little bit of foreshadowing of this character that was set up years ago in the anime, and it's finally revealed what the throbbing was, the King's engine, and that is his heartbeat. King is pretty much the Hercule of One Punch Man. He is someone that is that common cliche, that comedy gag where a character takes all the credit for the MC's deeds. For instance, the MC goes in, obliterates the competition, saves the world, and then you have another character come in and takes all the credit, and everybody believes that character instead of the MC, and they think the MC is like, a faker or something. For instance, Goku, Hercule, and all that. That's pretty much kind of what's happening here. You have King that is the equivalent of that cliche, and remember, One Punch Man as a series, it's meant to be like a gag, like it's meant to make fun of the shonen genre. That's the main purpose of what the series is about. So King as a character basically being very self-aware of what he is, and then you see how Saitama just comes in and interacts with him. It's hilarious, and once again, it plays on these tropes that you see in the shonen genre, where the character may be like, Hercule, that takes credit, and King is that character, and it's just trying to make fun of that, especially with this episode. But King as a character, how is he? Is he a good character? Oh yes. He is easily one of my personal favorites from the manga I have read. I really love his character because he's funny. I mean, the man is like a guy that just wants to sit down, he wants to live his life, he wants to play games, but because of just his horrible luck, he can't do anything about it. Like, he's been given a really bad hand. Not as bad of a hand as JC Staff, but he's been given a bad hand as well, because the man, he is just always in the wrong situation and at the wrong place at the wrong time. Like, if we go back to Season 1 with the Piccolo villain that Saitama was fighting, we know Saitama took that man down. But the dude, King, in this episode, it's revealed that he was there when Saitama took down the major foes throughout Season 1. He was always there, and he pretty much always took the credit to every opponent Saitama took down. So now we know where the credit was going, to all these opponents, because many were wondering when Season 1 was airing, like, why isn't anyone recognizing what Saitama is doing? Why isn't no one able to see how he's doing this, or at least recognize him? And the reason for this is because Saitama, he wipes out the opponent, he leaves the scene, and King is pretty much the only one that's really left behind. And like I said, he just has bad luck. He's always in the wrong place at the wrong time, and he's taking credit for this. Maybe not even willingly. Yes, he even stated he could have spoke up and said, like, hey, I didn't do these things, but at the same time, it falls in with human nature. For instance, if you're giving credit to these amazing deeds and all that, when you're given wealth, you're given power, you're probably going to get a little bit greedy. And you can see in some cases, this may be something that King was really happy with. Because, I mean, when you look at what his lifestyle is, he is someone that obviously wants to game. He loves to play games, he likes to chill, and obviously being able to be a hero like that, be recognized by fans and stuff, and have a big fan base, people just, always cheering for him, it's going to get to his head. And that's why he probably has never spoke up, is because of that reason. But he does realize that that's why one of the reasons he's in this situation. But even then, even if he would have spoke up, it still wouldn't have changed much because of how he was always in the worst position possible. Because since he was always there when Saitama took down an opponent and he took credit, you had where these supervillains, these monsters, they knew King's name. He was the ultimate opponent, the ultimate hero, and so they would hunt after him, which you even see in this episode, that multiple enemies, either are scared of him or they hunt after him because they want to prove themselves of how strong they are if they're able to take out, the number one hero, which is King. Now, that's the funny part about this. So when you see the situation in the later part of the episode with Saitama talking to King, like, hey man, what's going on here? You ran away from the fight. You're having Genos fight for you. What's going on? And in that moment, you just see how he's exposed. He literally exposes himself to Saitama, and Saitama realizes the truth. Instead of Saitama getting angry, or, being upset that his credit was taken, or whatever, he basically is like, you know what, I'll be coming back every so often to game with you. And it just shows in that moment that Saitama, he feels bad for the man. He realizes he's not really trying to be what he is. He's not trying to be a hero, but because of his situation, he might be forced to actually take those steps. Which is why Saitama himself even stated, hey man, you are in a really difficult spot. You either become a hero or you quit being a hero, but it doesn't mean that, it's going to stop, enemies coming after you. So the only option you really have available to you is most likely to become strong. That's what Saitama was saying. You just need to become strong. I mean, you may never be the number one S-class hero again, but you just need to become strong. You need to become someone that can actually defend himself, actually save people, and prove that he is technically a hero. But at the same time, sometimes heroes don't need to necessarily fight to truly be a hero. Let's look at the Hercule situation from, Dragon Ball Z. Even though Hercule obviously is extremely weak, and he would get decimated by pretty much the entirety of the cast of the series, he is someone that is necessarily a hero, at the very least at the end of the Buu Saga. What he did, in just name only, getting everybody to rally behind him, it saved the entire world. So, in this essence, that's what you can look like, or you can look at King like. He is someone that may not be physically powerful, or even mentally powerful, but because of how well-known his name is, he can be a symbol. He can be an ideal, and that is very powerful. Ideals and a symbol is incredibly strong, and that is why, in some essence, even if he may not become physically strong, he still is very important to have as the number one hero, because if he is there, people always feel like there is some form of hope, some kindling of hope that he could come in and save the day. And so it's best to kind of continue to live that lie than maybe kind of just rip that lie out and just say, oh, he's been faking the entire time. But another thing, too, is that Saitama even talks to King, and before he finds out that King is a faker, he's like, why did you run away? Is it because you're just so bored of fighting that no one gives you a challenge? And in that moment, Saitama was reflecting. He was actually talking to King in some way that he felt about himself. Remember, Saitama as an individual, he's reached the peak. He is the end game. He is the finale of the series. He is that strong. No matter how strong an opponent is, Saitama will always be stronger. And so in this case, when he was talking to King about that, he's like, are you in a similar state as I am right now? And maybe in that moment, Saitama might have offered to fight him or whatever if the situation would have been a little bit different, but he was just wondering what was going on, why King was acting the way he did. But yeah, it was a nice introduction to King's personality and just how he is and how relevant he will be going on forward in this series. Now, besides that, we also have other setup going on with a disaster of the world. We have it to where, the prophecy that was even made in the first season is carrying over into the second season, and all of these villains and criminals are being organized in the hero's main station to figure out what's going on and how they can fight back against it. And you see Sonic trying to explain the situation, and eventually he leaves because his only interest, obviously, is Saitama. Which also we move over to Blizzard, and we see her major introduction, and now she's also hunting down Saitama as well. So there's just a lot of setup with this first episode. I personally believe, despite obviously expectations not being met with art quality or animation, I think it's a solid first episode. It really did get the point across to what the season's going to be about, or at least the first half of it, and I'm looking forward to it. I really am. I am looking forward to seeing the continuation of this. I know many are going to be hating on this series. I already know how awful it's going to be, but I think we shouldn't just try to say this should be exactly like Season 1, because it never will be. It's just not fair. But I love you guys. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.